Ow. Okay, that's better. And now my pinky hurts. Great. Cool. Okay, guys. If you watched the last video, this thing was a failure. But with failures come new ideas. And this is a new idea. And this is an exhaust fan upgrade to our Steam Deck. And it fits right here. Just like that. What do you think? Now we're just going to pull this off and attach it to this, and we'll see how it works. So this mod, actually, man, I spent a couple hours on this thing. This is the second version. There was an original version that was just a test to see whether or not it fit. Believe it or not, which is very fun, I got this thing to fit on the first try. I modeled it beautifully. So there is no mounting hardware for this yet. I'm thinking if I were going to do any type of mounting hardware, basically this would just extend out and go here. But I ended up printing out these little ledges right here so that we can mount it not compression fitted, so it could sit a little flusher, and then we could just put a little bit of tape, or we could even throw some rubber bands on there and it will sit pretty good. But overall I'm pretty happy with the seat. It's not a perfect seal. I do have this this vinyl on my Steam Deck, but I'm very happy with this. So we're gonna go ahead and pull the fan out of this thing and put it onto here. What gave me this idea was I actually took a vacuum, and imagine this is a vacuum, and I put a bunch of tape on the top right here, and I sucked out all the air with the vacuum, and it actually cooled the Steam Deck a lot. It cooled it by almost like 6-7 degrees. So I was like, okay, there might be something to this exhaust fan, but obviously that's a vacuum, and it's a Dyson vacuum, and even though it was on the low setting, that thing is pulling a lot more suction than the Steam Deck or this little tiny fan would do. Max RPM on this is 4,500, I think. Whenever you're looking at fans, the side where you see these struts, these are always the outtake side, so the air goes this way, and then the side that looks the nicest is always the intake. So this is gonna look like this. The question is how the hell am I going to get these screws in? I did not plan I did not plan that part right, but I knew that, but I said fuck it. This is just part of the engineering process. I think that's the kind of videos that I'm going to continue doing, is because a lot of videos out on YouTube now are, you know, like you see some of the stuff, but you tend to see just like the idea of it all and then like the finished product. And I think I'm gonna go the other route, just because this is the funnest part to me right here, is the figuring things out. Yeah, we don't really need these supports anymore, and if anything, they're only gonna cause more issues with circulation. But if you look deep in here, there's actually openings. It doesn't continue all the way through into these rounded, these beveled corners. It just comes in through there. And like I said, it's just for support reasons. So technically, we could just break all these off. We don't even need these. It does look kind of cool though. I'll keep the center one. Doesn't really matter. I don't think it will matter too much for airflow. But one thing that will matter a lot is like seating, so how well this system will sit. The bolt is a little short, but I think we might be able to get away with it. Ow. Okay, that's better, and now my pinky hurts. Cool. So let's clean up the desk a little bit. Let's power on our Steam Deck first. So yeah, there we go. Let's do something with this logo real fast. God, I keep forgetting to save my game. I'm still playing this, by the way. I put in another 2 hours yesterday. I did the sermon. I'm just gonna, what we're gonna do is we're gonna prop this open like that. I'm gonna put a little bit of tape around these edges just to give it a really good seal. That way we can give this thing the best shot we can. But I like clean edges if possible. And what I think in a later version, I'm going to build like a gasket here. And the only reason I didn't do that now was because if I put a gasket in now for this thing to sit in, it would have been really hard to print it. Meaning it would, because it printed on its back like this, then you would need support in the inside, and I just didn't want to do that. So I was gonna just do a gasket on a later iteration, and I think the gasket's gonna enclose this whole thing. All right, so a fun way to heat up your Steam Deck. Take a little tape, and you'll notice whenever I take the tape, I'll always ball up one corner if I'm going to be removing that tape for the most part. And that's how we're going to heat up our Steam Deck. This thing is going to heat up very quickly now that we covered up its exhaust port. This is just the easiest way to get it to a maximal temperature. The fastest way to heat this thing up. I don't suggest doing this at home. This is my own Steam Deck, and I can do whatever I want to do with my own Steam Deck. Okay, I think we're right. Oh, wow, that's a little hotter than I wanted it to be. So we're right here. We're running at 5,200 RPMs. I'll let it equal out a little bit. And then we'll go from there. I don't know if you can hear the noise on this. It's pretty loud. We're not doing any internal stuff. 80, let's just call it 80 on the CPU, and it might get hotter, but we already pushed this thing. 17.1. Okay, cool. So the fan speed's at 4,900 RPMs is the peak. Probably should look that up, but oh yeah, there we go. Is that right about in the middle? Yep. I'll go. Fan speed was at 5,300 RPMs. Wow, that thing peaked. Okay, we'll go into a time lapse and see if this thing will cool it down. So we had it running for a few minutes. Our fan speed dropped a little bit, which is good. But I think the problem is we're going to see if we can do a better job on sealing this thing. So our fan speed dropped to 4,900 and 79 and 81 still. Peak on both CPU, GPU. So we're going to see if we can do a better seal, because one of the problems might be that there's not a amazing seal. How much tape can we put on a Steam Deck? Part 2. I don't really know what to exactly expect in this. I just know that if you had a higher pressure fan, meaning you had a fan that was more designed to suck than blow, then you'd get a very, very different reading from what. Cool. Super sealed up now. There's probably very minimal air bleed in the system. And right now we are still hovering around kind of where we were temps wise, but our fan speed has dropped by about 400 RPMs. 79 and 80 still are the peaks on the GPU, CPU, but the noise is pretty freaking loud. Let's do some testing on the lid. The lid is currently 47 degrees. Wow, it's warm. What is it right here? So even this is a lot cooler in the back of the case, I won't lie. So the hottest spot in the back of the case is 45, which is where our heat pipe is. And even our SSD, our controller, all 30s, 40s. So this is like one of the hottest spots right here. This is one of the hottest spots right here. It's not even that hot. Wow, where's the APU? Wow, it's a lot cooler. The back of the case is so much cooler. Can't feel any air going through there. Let's do the temperature of the fan. Fan temperature is 41. 46 on the top. Wow, that's pretty cool. But it's very noisy. Very, very noisy. 9 watts, 3.4 on the CPU. Yeah, we're this is as good as it's gonna get. We didn't really negligible gains on the temperatures. The main thing is our fan speed is better. Man, this thing is loud, and the temps have jumped up for whatever reason. Okay, so in closing, this thing kind of worked. It kind of worked. It doesn't work very well. And it is a lot louder, and we got a lot more bulk to it. And we didn't really skimp on it too much. Like, we used a pretty good fan for this testing. Obviously, if we used a more suction based fan, something that's meant to suck a lot of air, which I'm sure we could, but overall we could just put a bigger fan and try it, see if it makes any real difference. We could put a 60 or 80 mil or 120 mil on the back of this. I can print one of those out right now, but I don't really think we're going to see any real noticeable difference. And just so you understand, this was the original one. It's all squared out, and it's all squared just for printing purposes because it printed like this. And then we added all the fun stuff to it afterwards. So in closing, I definitely don't suggest doing this mod. I don't really suggest it whatsoever. But I guess the big question is how good is this JSOX fan here? Reduces temperatures by up to 18 degrees Celsius. So that means from 1 to 18. 1 to 18. That's your range. And obviously with our method, we definitely saw 1. So we for sure got 1. Could I promise 18? Yeah, but I guaranteed 1 at least minimum. So I don't know how well it's gonna work. I really don't. And I won't buy it, because I think it's not going to be that great. Oh, here we go. Here you go. Adapter, SD, USB, HDMI, PDMI. Fans. Oh, 6,000 RPM fan. Okay, so that could be the main thing. It's almost double the fan speed. But you can see this now. This thing is already loud as it is. It's loud. So how much louder is a 6,000 RPM fan? Now you have 2 fans going at 5,000, 6,000 RPM. I don't know. If someone has this or planning on buying this this cooling adapter, coming through here, this top portion right here, and it's getting sucked in through this blower and then blown straight out. So I guess the blower fan is probably closer to the rear of it. To the front of it, and it's getting sucked in through the blower. I just don't see how this thing is going to work that much better. It's just overall, it's all about reducing resistance on your cooling system. And the best way to reduce resistance in your cooling system is to cut a hole in the back of your Steam Deck, which has continually worked on all our testing. I'm going to show you guys again if this is the first time seeing this video. Our temps are at 7982 and the CPU. We're going to cut off, demod our Steam Deck real quick. Show this to you every time. Fan just ramped up. Plug this. Oh, almost punched that little kid. Fan speed has dropped from 53 to 49. GPU temp is at 73 now from basically 80. CPU's at 75, 74, and continually dropping fan speeds at 4,200 RPMs. This mod works, and it just works because it's all about air resistance. Yes, you want things to cool the overall system, but the hottest part of the system is here. All the main guts, the motherboard, the GPU, CPU, the RAM, the SSD is all here, and they're all tied together with the thermal pads and the heat shield that we modded with alongside our fan mod, and it just fucking works. It just works. 70 now on the GPU and 72 on the CPU. 60. We just saw 69 there on the GPU. 3,900 RPMs. This mod just works, and every time we add to it, and we don't make anything better. We don't make anything better. This is clunky and large. Obviously, that version is sleeker and nicer. But I just don't see how that could be that much better. I really don't. Maybe 2 degrees. Maybe 2 degrees more, but then I think this thing is battery operated. Now you got to charge that thing. You got to charge it now. You know, our mod literally is just... all we did was cut a hole. It cost us nothing. Actually, that's a lie. Thermal pads, very important. You need to thermal pad this thing for optimal temperatures in here. Even though I think without the thermal pads, I think your optimal temperatures are still pretty good. So, I love our application. I think our application is so freaking cool. I wish I could make it better, and I technically could. There's not enough pressure in this chamber. This thing is not the suction on this thing is not that great. It could be this could be just be a better design of this, but how much better? Like, I just don't see it doing 18 degrees. We cut out maybe they're adding the temperatures. They're adding the APU and GPU clock. With this, there is no cooler mod than what we've done, except for our fan mod with our copper plate. And if go ahead and watch that video, it worked really good. We saw really good temperatures. We saw the lowest temperatures we've seen, 71, 72 on the GPU and CPU, and on average, and also we had a fan speed of 3,800 RPMs. But check this out. We're doing the same thing. Well, it's a little bit warmer. 1 or 2 degrees warmer on the GPU CPU, but our fan speed's at 37, 36, 37. It's not. It's just. I think I'm only doing these tests just to show you that how well this fan mod works now. It's just a good mod. It's just the path of least resistance. There's a lot of resistance to doing these other mods, and unfortunately, none of these mods fucking work well at all. As cool as this thing looks, as happy I am with how this design came out and its functionality, it's just not that great. My computer's go to sleep? Oh. Huh. What's wrong with you? Alright, hopefully that didn't break while we were talking about this. I just don't see how better we can do this. I really don't. I really don't. I think cutting a hole in the back of your Steam Deck is the most optimal cooling solution. But we're going to go down the rabbit hole a little bit longer. What's this signal? Ah, shit. Hopefully my PC didn't die on me. We got to work on this design. And I got to figure out what's wrong with my PC. Other than that, my name is Nas, aka DIY Papi. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Okay, I couldn't not do the test again, so I redid it. My application on the duct tape to make sure there's all a perfect seal is as good as it's gonna get. And with only difference is 200 RPMs, maybe 3 on the fan, and that's about it. So this version, this model is no bueno, and maybe we could put a stronger fan that creates a lot more suction, but I don't understand how the JSOX one could be that much better with a fan that has 6,000 RPMs, but that kind of defeats the purpose, right? If you go 6,000 RPMs, then it's just going, that's another fan noise to listen to. I don't know. We're going to try to revisit this test. I wouldn't say this thing's completely debunked. Obviously, our application's not great. We'd have to get the JSOX one to try it out. I think I might have to buy it. I don't want to, but I'll do it for the content. But I just love how this thing looks, though. I'm not gonna lie. Not just because we got the channel's name, but I just love how it looks. It's so janky. I love it. The jank. I love the jank.